thoughts, views, and opinions are that of my own. I'm not a salesman. I cannot be bought. This is all entertainment. Let's go.
The Cipher.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Peace, 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 and more peace. It is a vibe. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Because I'm getting a little bit of something in my background. So if you can hear me, I want to see fire in the chat. If you can hear me, put fire in the chat. Say yes, sir. Okay. Okay. Let me get the stuff on the screen. Peace. How y'all doing today? This is going to be the Cipher Uncensored. Now, I don't know, I can barely hear myself on this mic, but as long as y'all can hear me and I'm not too loud, that's all that matters. I can just figure it out for the next live. But anywho, this is number 3 of the Cipher Uncensored. Now, before we go any further, if you are here for nothing but fragrance content, this show isn't for you. That's okay. You can, like Tuesdays and Wednesdays, you can get it in. And also another Friday, I might have a live. But if you see Uncensored, it's just might not be fragrance related, although I will add some fragrances into it. It'll be more topics, lifestyle, or whatever it is going on in the world. We'll be discussing a little bit things. Sometimes I might bring host on. I said ghost. Might bring some host on, and we'll see what happens. But as I already told y'all, I want to have something that's going to be going at least every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. 8:30 is my goal, to have something going on regardless of what it is. Now, that's my first intro. Now, before we start off the Uncensored, because you got to talk, I'm looking at the time, and I know with YouTube, for the first couple of seconds, you got to be mindful on what you play and what you say. So we're going to start off with a little clip, then we'll get into it.
Thanking motherfucker. One thing I can contest, you got to clean your ass. The ass is a powerful thing. Boy, that little round hole is a motherfucker. That thing shaped like a diamond. Run your ass out of here. You ever had a motherfucker sit in your house, man, get up, you smell him in your sofa? That booty hole is a bitch, boy, I'm telling you. You got to wash the crack of that ass frequently. And you must use hot water. You make sure some soap on the end of that bitch too. You can know when the ass is clean when you get you some soap and you set it up. And you then when you rinse it off here, a squeak, you're fresh. You're all right. Put some powder on your ass and go about your goddamn business. And women, y'all the same way. Y'all carry older too. You carry older. There's some good shit, but there's some foul shit too. That coochie is a bad motherfucker. Especially in the summertime, 9 degrees, you got to make sure that when your legs closed. Tell me, I've been sitting down, stand up. Stand your motherfucking ass up. I had a woman, man, her shit was so bad, man, just ran your motherfucking, man, I'm telling you, you know when something is foul, it just take your breath away. When you go to speak, you just cut your breath out, you know. This bitch here is foul.
Peace.
The Cipher. The Cipher.
That was the late great Bernie Mac. For those who aren't hip, we start off with a little thing. Sip of the day will be 4 Roses single barrel. Yeah, man, it's a good one. I like it. I'm not the biggest fan of 4 Roses, but I do like the single barrel. But I'm not the biggest fan of it. It's okay. It ain't like premium to me, but it's a good sip. It's a good sip. So how y'all doing today? Fire in the chat. Fire in the chat. I hate that I can barely hear myself, but that's fine. Check.
The Cipher.
Peace. How y'all doing? Well, before we get into today's topic, and I want to start the show off with maybe something I found on the internet, a little clip or something, just to get it started, get some laughs going, get you opportunities set, get the opportunity for people to come in. We got 75 people in. I don't always expect these lives to kind of like have the biggest crowd, but I'm going to drop a couple of gems here and there. We'll talk about some stuff, and I do have a topic. The topic of the show is going to be like, the internet isn't real. And, you know, for some time, I've been just observing the internet. I observe the internet all the time, and I grew up like pre-internet. So this internet stuff sometimes can get funny to me when I sit back and I observe it. Because at the end of the day, it's just not real. None of it is real. And we'll get into what I mean by that in my thoughts and some things that inspired today's topic. With different conversations. But before we do that, because this is still a fragrance channel, I will talk about my weekly rotation, if that's okay. So I'll go over my weekly rotation. That's what I plan on doing for today. So the weekly rotation is going to be starting off Monday, what I wore for the day. It'll be going into today, what my scent of the day was today. So we'll go through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and today, which is Friday. So we are going to talk some fragrances. So Monday, over the weekend, I was wearing this fragrance, wearing it, testing it. Absolutely stunning. For the last couple of lives, I've talked about it. Y'all already know what it is. It's from Day 3 Fragrances, and that's Desert Rain. To me, as I said, I've been wearing this. I've worn it a lot. I feel like I have a good sense of what this is. Performance, amazing. You get fresh leather, woods, some musk. It's watery. And the leather and woods give this dry effect. So it's this juxtaposition between fresh, dry. This is like a modern masculine Chypre. I mean, listen, this could easily have been, in my opinion, in another company's bottle. You could have put some bejeweled caps on it or anything, and this would sell for way more than what it's selling for, in my opinion. In my opinion, this is an absolute stunning fragrance. To me, this is the best fragrance they have, Day 3 has ever dropped, in my most humble opinion. Performance, I mean, as I wore it, it was just like signature scent, but it was like that confident, classy, masculine, modern man fragrance. But it still had some playfulness to it. So for anybody to say, well, you know, I don't want to smell like an old man EQ, like an old man Chypre, that ain't really my thing. You'll be fine with this. You will be super fine with this. This, to me, you know, when you're in your 25s to 50, 60, it just gave like confidence, playful, youthful without being juvenile, but yet just had some sophistication with it. I have enjoyed every single wearing of this. Sometimes when you like it, you have to stop, because I would easily already go through half the bottle, because I could have just, to be honest, wore this all the way every day up until today. So there'd been like 7 straight days of wearing. I had to give it a break. But y'all know when I did the opening, look at how much I burnt. So if you don't think I'm wearing it, I'm actually wearing the fragrance. But I really, truly enjoy. I stand by one of the best releases that I have put my nose on, because there's too many releases that come out. So I'm not going to say the best release in the world for clickbait. Y'all are here. I don't need to do that. But one of the best fragrances that I have experienced this year. Moving on. The next fragrance I went with was another tropical fragrance. This is a fragrance that I picked up after I think I did my tropical vacation scents. I'm pretty sure I did. I picked it up probably let's say I dropped my tropical vacation scents, let's just say on a Monday, which I don't believe I did, but let's just say I dropped it on a Monday. Like the following Monday or Friday, like I picked this fragrance up. Stunning, melon, tropical, bananas, another fragrance. If I had it in my collection when the time came, it probably would have bumped something. At least top 15, I believe that this fragrance would have went. And this is from Mind Games, and this is Counterplay. Yeah, man, you get that like honeydew melon, almost cantaloupe kind of thing. So it kind of gives you, you can almost put it into what's the name of that fragrance I talked about? I can't think of the name of it. The one I said is like more of a fresh passion fruit mango. It's not Porthole, but the other one. I think it's called Lazul. I can't think of the name right offhand. But it goes into that like Porthole family, but it doesn't smell like Porthole to me. But that family of fragrances, that tropical family of fragrances. Yeah, and you can smell like it's almost like this cream accord, like whipped cream kind of thing. It's a very fluffy fragrance, has like fluff to it. Almost like a smoothie topped with whipped cream. It's kind of what I get. Very airy, soft, but yet sensual, very comforting because it has this almost woody, vanillic, caramel kind of sweet nuance throughout the life of the fragrance. Very ripe, like banana, melon, almost like passion fruit kind of thing. Yeah, man. Counterplay is a good one. It's sweet, but the thing I like about Counterplay, because it has that like floftiness, that because it wears semi-heavy but yet airy, you can wear this in the heat. Now, 120 degrees, I don't know. I kind of like fresh citrus fragrances when I do something like that, but this was definitely a really good vacation pickup. This is one if you're going to be near water. So if I'm going to the harbor, the Navy Yard, Baltimore Harbor, National Harbor, Navy Yard, vacation anywhere near the ocean. So that can be Myrtle Beach, it can be Ocean City, it could be Tampa, anywhere where it's going to be a large body of salt water. This is just going to perform really, really well. Yeah, man, it's going to blend in the air. This is a fun fragrance. I wouldn't wear this dressed up. I wouldn't personally wear this if you work in like a professional setting or an office. I wouldn't choose to wear this. It's just very playful to me. This is like a day fragrance, a casual fragrance, a Saturday fragrance. Like you don't have to work. You're off on the weekend. It's midday Saturday. You're going for a drive. You got the windows down. It's not too hot. Maybe somewhere around anywhere from 85 to 90. Like you're feeling good. That's what I call this. And that's Counterplay from the House of Mind Games. I've enjoyed this. The next fragrance. So we're at Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So on Wednesday, I went with another citrus green fragrance, one of my fresh fragrances from the house that I've been talking about. Again, I have probably like 2 more fragrances I need to get from this house. Yeah, man. It has like this almost green, fresh odor cologne, woody, citrus, tons of synthetics like ambroxan, but this is from Mancera, and this is Cologne de Figure. So this, man, so with a lot of these fragrances, I really enjoy them. Like they give me they give me like a next level, really good vibe, like an extremely good vibe, like a throwback kind of feel, almost designer but better. And although it's super synthetic like designers, it just smells like better synthetics. Like I think Bleu De Chanel, legendary house, the Bleu De Chanel, y'all know I'm not going to call that as a scent of the day because I kind of sprayed that on for the first impressions, but I haven't worn that. And the reason I haven't worn Bleu De Chanel L'Exclusif is because I might just take that back, bro. Yeah, I just don't, it's good, but I also know that although it's good, it will set on my shelf and I will have it for just to say I have it for a collection piece. I can't really take pictures of it because I don't want to be flagged by the company. So, keeping that here when I'm really not going to reach for it, I'm gonna be honest. It's good. It's really good. I think it's a very nice fragrance. But for somebody like me who has really a very good, solid collection, when I leave the house, I want something like that's just gonna I just don't know. I just don't know if I'm really gonna reach for that as much. In $275, $300 for a fragrance that you're not gonna reach for that much. I guarantee you I can have that fragrance for about 4 years. I probably won't even get 50% of use out of it. So then I'm asking myself, why am I adding more of those kind of fragrances with my own money? It'd be different if it was a PR bottle. It'd be different, but it's not. So I just think I can do better things with my money. That's me. I'm not telling y'all what to do, but that's what I'm kind of like tussling and wrestling with. That's why I don't know if I'm gonna do a full review. My first impression is kind of how I feel. I think I stand by my first impressions. There's some nuances. Like I started picking up little, as we got off the live, I started picking up like these little chocolatey kind of nuances a little bit within the leather. But other than that, it was just an ambery, woody fragrance. And I just have a lot of those kind of fragrances. So adding that outside of just looking at it on my shelf to sniff it didn't make much sense to me. It just doesn't make that much sense to me. That's for me. I'm not telling y'all what to do with your money, but that's just my thought process. But anyway, this fragrance right here, I like their fragrances. It gives you easy to wear. They're slightly overpriced, but right now I know for 48 hours, this is a shameless plug. I didn't mean like doing this plug, but 48 hours, Joma Shop has their sale. I have a link in my description for my Joma Shop link. A lot of these fragrances, matter of fact, I think all of my mise en soeurs outside of Eau Gimbre, I believe I got from Joma Shop. All of them. And that's what I've been waiting for. It's like 2 more I need, or I would like to have fresh scents before I do an overall house overview. But this one just works. A lot is because they using synthetics. They work. I'm getting 7-8 hours. And even when I'm not smelling it, after 10 hours, I have been like, oh, you smell good, but nothing crazy. And this is from people I know. This wasn't no strangers after 10 hours telling me how great I smell. This is people who I know was like, oh, you smell good. It was just a quick, subtle, like, oh, that smells good. So I like it. I like it a lot. And it's like it has that old school cologne feel, but being very modern. So I like this. For today and Thursday, I wore Old Faithful. Old Faithful. It's going to work. I get over 10 hours, especially when I spray it on clothes. I'm normally going about 15 spray minimum with this fragrance. It's pleasant. It works. I have a backup bottle of it. I can be liberal with the sprayer. I don't really know if you can truly overspray this fragrance because it's just not dense. It's simple. It is a love of mine. And this is from Moncler, and this is La Cordée. Moncler. I wore this the last couple of days. 2 compliments within 2 days. 2 of them today. Yeah, man. for me, it just works. I've talked about this fragrance. It's not something, it's just Old Faithful for me. Whether I'm going to the gym, whether I'm gonna be out ripping and running, if it's gonna be hot or muggy, or if it's gonna be wet or kind of rainy, it works in all situations. One, like this is a 6.7 ounce bottle, a big boy bottle. I have another backup bottle of the big boy bottle. That's how much I love it. I got it again from Joma Shop. I paid for it. They didn't send it to me. But Joma Shop does have a sale. If you want to partake, go to my link, search for these things, and cop a bottle. I get a small commission for that. But no pressure on that at all. But this is just and for those of you, I think it was my old IG page. I went to Tyson's Corner and I went to the Moncler store. I smelled it. I took a picture of the whole lineup and I gave my quick thoughts of the fragrances. And I said, this was the one. And I said, before the end of the year, I'm going to have a bottle of this. It just spoke to me. It, as a fresh scent, it spoke to me. And I like this. I like this a lot. And I wore this today. Is my scent of the day today and yesterday, which was Thursday. So those been my scent. That's my weekly rotation. I really hate I can't hear myself, and I don't really know why, but we'll see. Anyway. So some things we're going to talk about is the internet isn't real. The internet isn't real. Some things that was inspired by this is I've seen things on TikTok. I think TikTok gives you small condensed, and some things I see, I'm just like, yeah, I don't believe that. Every fragrance influencer, regardless of who they are giving complimented lists. Every single one. It's like it comes with the territory. If you want to do fragrance influence, you have to give a complimented list. But in my mind, I'm like, some of y'all ain't outside like that. And we talk about these compliments and we have this sense as if we're around beautiful women all the time and we have access to beautiful women. And I think that's the internet tricking you. Most people are average. Most people, men and women, are average. This idea that everybody's around beautiful women are getting stopped are I'm guaranteeing you, I would almost bet money 90% of these people, you go to somewhere like a Essence or Scent Explorer, somewhere like that, I'm almost putting money on it, and you put them in a situation away from fragrance, other influencers where they feel comfortable to talk fragrances, and you put them in a situation downtown New York in a spot, no fragrance influence, maybe a few of y'all, and you got to go talk to a stranger and just kind of mingle, and some people will just shut down. They will shut down completely. They don't know how to talk to people, especially socially awkward people. The internet ain't real. I'm not believing some of that. Club bangers, and I'm like, you don't be in clubs. Some people, I'm like, you're not even 21. What clubs are you going to that's a club banger? Like, what are we talking about here? What part of the game is entertainment? And I've always said, take a lot of what people say, myself included, as a form of entertainment first. Take the other part as information-based information. So, their take on how a fragrance is transitioned. But also have to know that some of those takes are just reading notes off of the internet. And anybody can read notes, talk about, generalize those notes, and give a generic performance. It performs all day. It's better. It's beast mode. Just adjectives, random adjectives. It doesn't take much. It doesn't take much. And so I start looking at that. I start looking at, I remember when Cash Doll, for those who don't know, is a popular female rapper out of Detroit. I remember she broke up with her sons. I think she might have 2 kids, but I know she at least have a son. When she broke up with her son's father, and she got with the NFL player, like there were, women on the internet, and again, the internet ain't real, who was like weaponizing this, like, yeah, women moving on and this and this and that, and look, and like weaponizing it against men. And the whole men and women war is weird in general, and we'll get into that. But it was like weaponizing that relationship. And then like this week they broke up. And it's like, that's like pound the face, right? And those same people are like quiet now. Super quiet now. And I was like, the internet is a wild place. You only know the end result. And a lot of it is performative and mask. It's performative and mask. When you think about compliment content, just compliment content. And I think Jeremy Fragrance was the king of compliment content because he actually brought attractive women to his studio to record content. So that's sold. But like I said, this idea that social media fools you. Most people don't have access to beautiful women. But with social media, we can all be congregated in this space where you can comment on somebody's post and you feel like you have access to them. Before the internet, celebrities, you never knew what celebrities thought. There was an allure with the celebrity that you never really heard them talk outside of giving a random interview. And now I can go on any celebrity, any football comment, my favorite quarterback's profile, and feel Jaden Daniels, and I feel like I can talk to him in the hopes that they'll just like my comment, and that like raises the endorphins. So I have access. Instead of writing a pen pal letter, wondering if they open it, I can comment on his page on IG, and that's like access, whether he comments or not, whether he likes it or not. That's still access to Jaden Daniel. If there's a quarterback I don't like, if I think Dak Prescott is a bum, I can troll him every day of the week, and especially after Sunday, and be like, y'all suck, you trash. That's access to people pre-internet you would never have. So there's a false sense of belonging. There's a false sense of access. And when it comes to women and men, there's a false sense that you have access. Most of the stuff people do on the internet, and I'm talking to guys, most of my channel who watch me as guys, is you will write on a beautiful woman's comments or slide in a DM and say something crazy, but most wouldn't have the intestinal fortitude to walk up to those same women out on the street and try to get to know them and talk to them. You know how I know? If you have some beautiful, just extremely beautiful women friendships that you know of, they don't get approached a lot. Every now and then there'll be somebody with the unmitigated gall to ask them, the audacity, but for the most part, they're not getting approached like that. But the internet is a place where you can say anything and be anyone. And outside of social media, especially with pretty women, most men don't have access to pretty women. Most of us have access to average women. Average women. And that's okay. Nothing's wrong with average. There's an exception. Everybody doesn't look like Bernice Burgos. We can stop that. Everybody doesn't look like that. And there's too many women, average women. And again, most people are average, that's men and women. I'm average. There's too many average people, women who have children, to let me know that people are laying with our average women. There are way too many. Yeah, there are way too many. Most people are average. The internet, like I said, it puts everybody in the same space, and then your algorithm promotes said space that you search. So if you're looking up Bernice all the time, the next thing you know is going to put you on this. Now you're following this girl, you're following this girl. Now the internet knows who you're following, and then they're going to start suggesting other girls. Now you're following all these hot women. Maybe they comment back to you, maybe they don't. Now you feel like you have access to said women. In real life, you don't have access. You just don't. The internet is a place where it will push your fears, your likes, your vices, and your annoyances. It'll push your fears during riots or wars or anything else. You start searching one thing, search another thing, your algorithm will start filling you that, and all of a sudden you feel like you're like everywhere outside is dangerous or things can go bad at any given time. And there's a heightened thing with that, where you're always on edge. It goes back to what I said, I think, in a couple of lives ago, like being in survival mode all the time. There's something extremely unhealthy about that. And that's why, stress will kill you. It's the number one cause of stress. It can't link to cancer. It's just stress. And the internet is a place of stress. Your vices, fragrances. You start watching a lot of fragrance content, the internet will push that. You start watching car content, bourbon content, whiskey content, the internet will push said vice, and it will serve you. And then your annoyances. These are your complaints. The internet is a place where people in groups will complain about fragrance influencers, complain like to the point of annoyance, how they're lying to, they would just completely complain, but they still watch. They know everything that you're doing, every single thing. They know what you're doing. They know what you're saying. They know what you're talking about. And you be like, but you don't like that person. That's kind of weird to me, right? It's just like, yeah, I'm not watching that content. I'm not subscribing to that content. I'm going to watch other content because this kind of ain't my cup of tea. And you can go on. Maybe you say, hey, I just don't watch this person or that person because this and this and that. And then I moved on. But you shouldn't know that what top 10 they did the other day or whatever the case is. It's in the words of Kendrick Lamar, you can turn the TV off. Nothing's stopping you from doing that. But people love to complain about the fragrance influencers or the lies of fragrance influencers or the shields. We can acknowledge it happens. I think it happens for sure. I think in any industry that's generating money, you're going to have these things happen. And you have to cipher through who's you believe is or isn't. And then watch those who speak to you and ignore those who don't. There's a lot of people I've watched in the past. I'll be like, I don't watch them no more. I don't know what they're talking about. I don't know what last top 10 they did. I don't know what fragrance they reviewed. If it comes up on my YouTube as recommended, most of the time I say, do not recommend me again. And I don't get recommended, like it doesn't show up on my feed. So I couldn't tell you what those people are talking about. I don't really have a complaint about them. But people love to complain about things that they willfully consume. And that's a weird place. It gives you a sense of power and control. I talked about the DMs, how most people are socially awkward around women. You know where else people get access to women a lot is in the workplace. Workplace is also another false sense of access. How many nurses, RNs, teachers, you working around a lot of women. Women are in the workplace now, right? It's not the 40s. Women are in the workplace. So you can hold conversations with these people. You can get ideas. You can say, hey, can you give me what you think of this fragrance? You can have those conversations, but that's not true access, right? That's not true access, but you can get it. But this is also why affairs happen at work, things of that nature, RNs, the healthcare workers, the CEOs and stuff of that nature, your work wife, work husband. That's why that's a thing, right? The workplace is another place that will do that. Trauma bonding is a true thing. And that's where, everybody's getting together, complaining about the same thing all the time. And that has to be exhausting. And y'all go to work and you have that one guy first thing in the morning comes in. They might be complaining every damn day. You ain't even had coffee, sat down, you ain't got comfortable, and they talking about the most negative of shit all the time. And how that make you be like, bro, oh my God. Like, it's like exhausting. In spaces in the internet, it's like everybody can congregate in the same thing and regurgitate. And it's like, yeah, I can turn that off. I can turn that off. And I can be, that's why in my Facebook group, for those who in the group, put fire in the chat. We don't talk about what we really don't like. There's a reason I did that. There's a reason why I don't really want to hear about what you don't like. Now, there's a time where we can be having discussions and people might say, hey, I got this fragrance. I kind of feel this. What you think? It's cool to be like, hey, I tried it. It ain't really my cup of tea. But, try, do your thing, though. It didn't work on me for whatever notes. Like, I think that's constructive conversations. Like, it ain't work for me. But you go in one place, they be like, y'all hype this too much. This shit is ass. Like, bro, why didn't you sample it? That's an accountability thing. Why didn't you sample it? Well, I didn't want to. I blind bought it. Well, then you're the dumb. Own that. Own that. Be accountable for that. You're the dummy. You didn't have to go out and do that. I always tell y'all, sample every single absolute thing. But there's a reason why in my group, there's a maturity level there that you don't see in some other groups. We haven't had an argument. And if I see you like a habit of popping up on posts with like negative shit, I'm just going to boot you. No hard feelings. I don't know you in real life. We don't really break bread. No hard feelings. There's other groups that fit your fancy that you can go there and complain all day. And I wish you well. Godspeed. No announcement. There's no need to inbox me and say, hey, what happened? You know what happened. You don't have to ask when you know. It just kind of is what it is. And just let people do. But you can tell it's different. Those who in my group, it's just a different vibe. But that's because I try to focus on what you love, because when you talk about things you love, it just affects you differently in a different way. And it's also helpful because then you're more spirited talking about it. And there's been things people can talk about I don't care for or it didn't work for me. It ain't, I just kind of be like, you know what? I'm cool on that. Unless they ask, be like, hey, everybody, what you think? I'll be like, well, kind of ain't work for me, but I'm glad you enjoy it. This is what I got from it. That's so my thing is like, if you have a complaint, that's cool, but didn't have a solution or something. Like, this is kind of what I got from it. This is kind of how I feel from it. I didn't really get that. I'm not saying you wrong, but I don't really get that correlation to that. But, cool that you did. And I just think it just makes things different. trauma bonding, you know, we talked about men, but like women constantly they're looking on the internet and they're watching all these celebrities get Cullinans bought for them. They're hopping out of Ferraris. They got the Hermes bags, the Chanel bags. Everybody's living this lavish life. And it convinced the average woman that they all have rich boyfriends. First of all, it ain't that many rich men roaming the earth. And the baby daddy you let nut in you, we see him. He's a dusty. You can stop. He's dusty. Bro, your baby daddy dusty. That dude is a dusty dude. He ain't what you say. He just ain't that. And I'm not saying you can't desire that, but there's this entitlement that it's like, oh, ain't that many people walking the earth doing that. And it gives you a false sense of options. The perception of options is what I wrote down. You know, this whole, well, I get another man. My inbox is full of dudes and I can replace and I can do. No, you can't. Because men who are around men know that every man ain't solid. Ain't that many solid dudes or thorough dudes in your inbox. Then for it to be an option, that means they have to want you and you have to also want them. And your wants have to be aligned. If you want to marry this man and he wants to just clap cheeks, that is not an option. That is out of alignment. You don't have the options you think you have because it ain't that many solid dudes and thorough dudes walking the earth. Too many people, everybody's performative. It's a lot of mask. It's a lot of performative. Everybody's pandering on simping. And it's just not that many thorough people in general in this world for you to have that many options. So sometimes I'll be like, listen, I don't care what people typing on the internet. That's why my favorite line is like, go outside. Get off the internet. Men, a lot of y'all complain about women out here half dressed. They don't got clothes on. They half naked. I'm outside. I don't see that. I see women dressed, professional, or having fun. Will some of them have ass? Yes, some might have ass and titties. It don't matter what they wear. They can have a muumuu on. You still gonna see the ass and titties. You can put them in a pencil skirt. If she got ass, you can put in a pencil skirt or some Nike sweatpants. The ass is going to be assing. How many people got in here? 174. I appreciate y'all in here. Hit the like button for me, please. You can't hide that. But this whole idea, that's why I also laugh at men. That's why I say the internet's not real. It's not really a man or woman thing. The internet's not real. Y'all complaining about stuff that don't happen in the real world. All these women want dudes for their money. But yet, you will throw out the stat that a lot of men don't have money. Yet, I'm driving around and I'm seeing women with dudes holding hands and having babies and getting married. Isn't that a contradiction to all women want money? Every motherfucker don't got no money. Too many people in debt. I don't care what people say on the internet. It ain't real. There are too many people having sex, having babies, getting married yearly. And the stats say that all those men ain't rich, money, and the stats on the American debt system, everybody ain't cranking a 900 credit score. Come on, stop it. So you're outside. I want to know, unless you're on the Vegas Strip somewhere or in like parts of California on the whole drag, where are all these women with their asses out? Where's this happening? I must go there and see. Because outside, I don't see it. I don't see it outside. I don't see it outside. It's like the whole celebrity, all these athletes, black athletes get rich and marry and get with white women. So statistics say that most people date within their race and marry within their race. Generally speaking. Why? Because there's a common thing. Generally speaking, nothing wrong with people interracial. That's not the conversation I'm making. But I'm saying, generally speaking, most athletes, for every athlete you want to say, see, there's this athlete with this person. Then I can show you a Dwayne Wade. I can show you a LeBron James. I can show you a Russell Westbrook. I can show you what's my guy in Philly? I can show you Jalen Hurts. I can show you. I can go on and on and on and on and on. For everyone that you're going to pick there, I can show you 5 that ain't doing that. I can show you 5. So it's just that's what the media portrays you, because the media is rage baiting you into believing narratives, whatever those narratives are. Some can be real, some can't be real, but still, sometimes you just got to go outside. You got to go outside, because outside will tell a different story. Sometimes it will tell a different story, and that's why I said, like, there's 2 types of men, and this is coming back to fragrances to me. When it comes to complimented videos, there's 2 types of men. Are you doing things to get women? That's why I think a lot of people, I got to get this fragrance because I'm doing this to get women. You're doing things to get women. So that means you got to be performative. To me, that's performative. I got to get this because I want my end goal is to get this. That's not who you are. That's performative. So now that it's performative, guess what? Now you got to keep the mask on. But that's not who you are. So now you're keeping up a mask. You're with this woman. You got her because you're performative. Eventually, the mask will fall off. She'll see through the mask because it's not who you were. And then she'll leave. And then you'll be on the internet crying about how you got used. She never knew the real you. You were performative. A lot of people do it. You're performative. Real men just focus on their purpose. Just focus on who you are, being a better person, being real with yourself, knowing your limitations, focus on you, and the women will just be, the women who are for you will be attracted to that. You ever notice how people who complain about like stuff they shouldn't have to? So let's say you say every girl wants to be half naked on the internet. Okay. Then don't date women half naked on the internet. There's tons of women not half naked on the internet. Go outside. You can meet a woman outside, exchange internet stuff. You can go to her page. She's not half naked. But you want the half naked ones to be wives, and most of those women you couldn't bag anyway. You notice that? Men complain about women they couldn't bag anyway. Those women weren't for you. They're for the guy who wants that. Are those guys right, wrong, simps, or whatever? Don't matter. That's what they want. If I'm a man and I like threesomes, that's not my bag. I've been there, done that. But let's say I'm a man that requires that. Well, I'm on the internet complaining about women don't want to please a man and they ain't doing enough threesomes. Bro, just find the women who are into threesomes. I don't have to complain. Stop trying to convince women who ain't into that to be into that. Simple. Oh, that's them flock of women over there. They don't like threesomes. Oh, here's a bag over here. Let me cast my pole over there. That's my bag. Why am I complaining about these women? But we spend all day complaining about these women. It's like people who sit around complaining about a particular fragrance influencer or whatever the case is. Are there anybody that you like? So uplift those people. Watch them. You can just watch them. It's cool. if your life revolves around fragrance content and being influenced by fragrance content, I do other things, read a book, go outside, watch. I'm in the cars and shit like that. Like I kind of get into that bag. Homes, home remodeling. I look at homes and be like, I like that paint job. Ooh, I like that piece of furniture. Ooh, I should probably buy this. Oh, I like that backyard patio. I'm kind of into that. How to keep your grass green. How to get rid of. I'm into shit like that. That's kind of my bag. Especially now that I'm kind of really almost to say done with this. I'm going to be at a point where maybe 2 fragrances a year. Anything else will be PR if PR gets sent. Other than that, it's going to have to be absolutely exceptional for me to spend my coin on it. It just can't be good, which is why I asked myself, do I need that Chanel? I'll wear it the first year. I'll probably wear it up until now, until December. By next year, if 10 more fragrances are going to come out, you've moved on. You don't reach for it. You still have a full to half a bottle. Maybe you try to sell it, but the unfortunate with Chanel, ain't no Facebook group on the internet going to allow you to resell that. You will be flagged. No one's going to allow you to do that. So now you kind of stuck with that. No one's going to do that because no one wants to be sued. And Chanel's is kind of weird. Yeah, but I bought that phrase. Chanel's weird with that. No one's going to risk that. I know I'm not in my group. So that is what that is. But focus on things that you want. Most of your annoyances are things that you focus on. I found that most of your annoyances are things you hyper focus on. So focus on something else. That's what I do. I started getting bored, like watching the same old content. If I'm gonna be honest, just kind of the same thing. Or PR boxes, especially with clones booming. I have no desire to spend my hard-earned money buying any of those. So a lot of people's content I just don't watch unless it's something new or I see a thumbnail where it may be something new, but I'm not buying none of that. So respectfully, I can do something else with my 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 15 minutes of time. I'm not buying any of that. And that's not a slight. And that's not saying that those fragrances aren't good. I'm not saying they are. I'm just saying I'm not buying it. I'm not. I don't think that makes me better or worse. I'm just saying I don't want to buy that. If they send PR, sure, I'll do first impressions PR. 90% of the time, I'm gonna probably try to do first impressions PR and maybe review it because they're gonna if it's PR, they're gonna want to review, and then I don't know, figure out a way to give it away. Because I have a fear. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I've said it before. I have a fear of having 1,500, 5,000 bottles and at my age. If I was 20, maybe I wouldn't care so much. But I have a fear of really adding too much more up here because I already think I'm not going to use up this before I'm up out of here. I have a feeling I'm not going to use up all this. As a matter of fact, I know I'm not. It's just then who I leave that to. Kind of why I sat back and I think, like, what kind of content do I want to make? Do I want it to be only fragrances all the time? Can I find a way to, like, how can I find a way to make good content, grow my channel, still incorporate fragrances because that's what y'all are here for, but always don't have to talk about the new thing? I don't want to be driven on that, although that will drive the numbers. If I just went to clones, my channel would grow, but then I'm just going to end up having like 50, 60 fragrances I'm never going to reach for when I leave the house. Not because they're not good, but I'm not going to reach for them. I know me. I'm not. I'm going to have 100 and something clones, and then I'm going to reach for Faith when I leave the house. Or Hasu. Or 1907. When I leave the house. That's what I'm going to reach for. They're gonna be like, yeah, but this is really close. Yeah, that's a cool story. I'm reaching for these when I leave the house, generally speaking. So now I just spent $40 here, $40 there, $40 here, $40 there. A new one comes out of the same clone. So now I got to keep up with the content. Now I got to buy the new one. But I'm sure if I do enough of that, they'll send PR bottles to influencers, and I'll do a PR bottle. I'll do a sponsor paid bottle. I'll review it. If it's good, it's good. It's bad, it's bad. But then I got to find a way to offload that after I finish my contractual obligation, which will probably be like, hey, you know, we're gonna send you this bottle, we'll give you this. We would like a review in a first impression or 2 videos, whatever that goes behind closed doors. You say, all right, I'm done with that contractual obligation. I gotta offload this, because that's a real fear of mine. That for me, I don't like clutter like that. So coming in here in too many fragrances, and then I got to get a bigger room because now fragrances is overflowing into another room. That's going to bother me. It's going to bother me. So it wouldn't really be my cup of tea. But yeah, real men just kind of focus on them. When you're being performative, so you chasing the thing and compliments, and you're doing this, and you're trying to keep up with this, and you're like, oh, well, let me take her out on a date because I want to show that I'm being performative and I do this. But then those dates start falling off because that's not who you are or a lifestyle that you can maintain. And then she's going to look at you as not being consistent. And then she's just going to get fed up, and then she's going to leave because she likes consistency. And then you're going to be like, I feel used. Well, you were performative. The same with, men who get on this internet and say, I'm just going to pander to women. Let me just pander, like the Derek Jacksons. And then inevitably, it all comes out. And then you'd be like, oh, that was crazy, bro. So you got to try to be as you are. That's the best way I see it. Again, I could easily probably let it grow. I can do stuff and 5 videos and it would grow, but then I would feel, to be honest, I would feel performative because I don't really want to maintain that. Personally, I don't want to maintain that level of intense. I don't personally want to maintain that. I can maintain, and that's why I've been doing, and we'll talk about it later, SMART goals. And I'll talk about what SMART goals are. I said, okay, I want to still grow my channel a little bit, but I want to incorporate lives. But how can I do lives and then make content to get exposure, to get people to hear my content, to say, you know what, I kind of like what he's saying. It's something different that we don't hear, the transparency in the fragrance game and bringing different stuff and people on to talk about different things. How can I grow that, but still, you start getting, you got to do the micro before the macro. So I'm like, all right, well, let me just let my guys know I can be consistent Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, or at least try to do 3 lives a week. And if I can maintain that, then we'll see what that looks like. So that's do something atomic habits over a period of time to create a habit. So now y'all don't have to think. It's just natural. Oh, what's today? Wednesday? Oh, EQ going live 8:30. Let me get my drink together. Let me relax. I like what he's talking about. I can chill. Oh, it's Friday. Oh, they're going to be talking a little bit of shit in there. Let me see what he's talking about today. I like he be spitting some little bit of game. Let me see what he's talking about today. Let me see who's going to be on. Because on Fridays, I might have somebody on. Last Friday, I had George. Friday before that, or the Friday before that one, then Kuba was on. I don't know who's going to be on next Friday. We'll see. If anybody. I don't know. I could be working on that or could not. We'll see. But that's why you have your alerts on and you just see kind of what's going on. But I always say sometimes you just have to work on your, these fragrances, these are good tools to help you. I think scent memory, or like using scent memory. So the end of my last live, I kind of got into it. Somebody asked me a best fragrance for a date. And I kind of got into it. But using these as scent memory to also go with everything else is a great tool. This can be a tool. I'm never going to say fragrance. Smelling good is a thing. Women like men who smell good, period. but you have to first be likable. And a lot of us don't work on ourselves. Are you working on yourself? That's the hard part. And I think sometimes that's what I think a lot of men, I think we romanticize the past too much. Men. I just think, and I'm saying men because most of my audience is men. I think we romanticize the past too much. We talk about how grandma stayed with grandpa and how they stayed together, but there was domestic abuse was high. You couldn't leave. Where was you going to go? Women weren't working. Papa was a Rolling Stone. The songs, that's a thing. You go back into your grandparents and great-grandparents' history and you start really looking, you might find some things out that you don't want to find out. Sometimes you don't want to turn those stones and skeletons because you'd be like, damn, bro, why you ain't leave? You might. Sometimes it's best to have nostalgic memories and leave it there. But back then, it was no internet. Older people kept things from younger people. Now, people my age are on the internet talking, and young people are seeing me talk. In the past, they never saw me talk. It was like, you should be seen and not heard, kid. Go outside and play. Older people never congregated with younger people. That never happened growing up. So a lot of things were hidden. Now, 16-year-olds, 15, 18-year-olds can see how some older people are just playing out stupid. And they say, some of y'all are dumb. You can't teach me nothing. You're not an OG. You're just an old motherfucker. There's a difference between being an OG and an old person. Are you putting somebody on the game? Are you putting game out? Or you just old? Just because you old don't mean you get this prestige thing with you. But old people, I never hung out with my parents. I never was able as a teenager to see my parents' age group be on the internet, arguing, fighting, trying to be YNs at 60. Sometimes you just gotta chill, man. Let the grays flourish or something. You know what I'm saying? You gotta chill. That never happened back in the days. It happens now. So that's also, I think, is the disconnect from the elders and the youth. There's a disconnect there. Because you have to be a leader for somebody to want to follow. And they like, some of y'all women act like it's a 20-year-old guy. Like some of y'all women in y'all 40s act like the 20-year-old girls I date. This shit is weird. This is what I have to look forward to? This is depressing. And the same with the men and vice versa. So you got to say at some point, did wisdom kick in? Did you learn anything at your age by now that you can give me? Why would I aspire to be that? I can't. That's weird. So, you have to be likable. Fragrances are a good tool, but if you're not a likable person, how far is that really going to get you? You're going to spend a lot of money and go nowhere with it because you're really not that likable. People don't like you like that. You're not likable in real life. I can tell you, I almost bet and this is the beauty with the internet, I almost bet that those pages that sit around and hate on influencers, whether it's IG, YouTube, whatever the case is, wherever these people who ghost, especially in the YouTube comments, I don't argue with them no more. I just block them and delete their comment. But I guarantee you, if all those people who dislike me all sat at a table and did a meet and greet, some of those people you would look around and you'd be like, what the fuck? Why am I associated with these people? Look at him. No wonder he hate. He's out of shape. Look at him. This dude, he got boogers in it. Is that tartar in between his teeth? Dude, we got a dental plan. What the bro? He smell like a pack of cigarettes. What the fuck? Oh no, I gotta stop hanging around with these people. But on the internet, you don't get to do that. I guarantee you, some people, them people was get them all in a room and get together, there will be a certain thing. There'll be a certain thing there. There'll be a common denominator. There'll be a common denominator. But when I say you got to be likable, that don't mean you got to be coddled, controlled, or a simp either, though. That's why I said, just do you, be your purpose. When you're doing you and being your purpose, you're going to piss some people off. You got to be okay with pissing some people off. I'm always a little leery when everybody likes you anyway. If everybody likes you, I'm a little leery of people like that. I can see everybody saying, listen, I don't really like them, but I respect them or whatever. Because I don't got to like you to respect you. But when like everybody like you, then I just think you're a chameleon. I think you're doing too much transforming. And then I don't think I know the real you. Because everybody, we don't live in a monolithic society. So everybody can't like you. That's just not how the world works. Taylor Swift is probably one of the biggest music artists. Yes, her concerts outsell Beyonce. There are people who hate Taylor Swift. There are people who hate Beyonce. Hate them. But you be like, why you hate them for? Most of y'all just hate their success. Well, I see them too much. Yeah, they're successful. You should see them a lot. That's part of success. So you hate success. Oh, I want you to do good, but only so good. You got to watch out for friends like that too. And I'll get into that too. You got to watch out. People want you to do good, but like only like so good. I want you to strive, but like you can't be up here because then I got to do or say little things to get you down there. You can find that in your relationships too. You come home with a big, a big congratulatory work thing or something, and they kind of downplay it. You got to watch out for people like that. Just got to be mindful. Be mindful of them. But again, you ain't got to be coddling and simping either. You ain't got to do all that. But, go outside, enjoy yourself. To me, fragrance sometimes is just too many people's personality. It's like you try to make that your personality. And I just think that's fleeting. It's fleeting like sillage. It's just fleeting. Do people actually want to be around you? You got to ask yourself that. So go outside, touch grass. Touch grass a little bit. There's a couple of books I want to plug. A couple of books and a couple of things, but I know I've been asked this, so that's why I want to bring these up. It's a couple of joints. And I have a whole library of different like self-help things, but like Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life, The Antidote to Chaos. Great one. But when you go into, I want to say it's the third. Let me see. I bookmarked some stuff I wanted to get into. Make rule number 3, make friends with people who want the best for you. But one of the things he talked about is the reciprocal arrangement. And it said, here's something to consider. If you have a friend whose friendship you wouldn't recommend to your sister, your father, your son, why would you have such a friendship yourself? You might say out of loyalty. Well, loyalty is not identical to stupidity. Loyalty must be negotiated fairly and honestly. You gotta sometimes watch the company you keep, online and offline. You gotta watch the company you keep. Here's another one. And this is from Eric Thomas, PhD. UOU. Ignite your power, your purpose, your way. UOU. And one of the parts I want to highlight, let's see, there my highlight going come out. You can choose to be a victim or a victor. Victimhood is a mindset. It is an attitude you hold that pushes you to make certain decisions or act a certain way. Victimhood is when the world happens to you. It's when you depend on the world to dictate your life. Victimhood is when you wait for the world to provide you with the tools to move forward. It is when you cede control to someone or something. It goes on, but that's just like a small excerpt. I am a big accountability person, like huge. And accountability doesn't always mean that you're right and you're wrong. But if I'm going to be wrong, I'm going to stand on my wrong. I'm staying 10 toes on it. If I say I'm going to go out and I'm going to commit crime, I ain't snitching. I'm staying 10 toes on it. I know what it is. I'm accountable for my actions. I knew what it is. So I'm going to stand in it. But I'm not going to blame the system. I chose to pull that trigger. I chose to run up in that store. I chose that. But is life hard? Yeah, but it's fucking life. It's supposed to be hard. Who said it was easy? We basically, once we're born, we basically start dying. We get older. We're dying, bro. Who said it was fucking easy? But I'm big on accountability. And when you take power of yourself and your actions and you say, can't nobody make me do something I don't want to do. You don't have the power to do it. You have to kill me first. There's power in that. In every saying that I made that happen, the decision I did, I chose that based on things and people I put myself around, and I controlled that, and I moved here, and I made sure I network here. Like, you really take your power. There's a powerful thing in accountability. If your marriage failed, instead of saying she, you say, well, was I a better husband? What did I do? You have a bad relationship with your kids? Was I a great father? What could I have did to make that relationship better? There's power in that. This woman left me. She used me for my money. Okay. What did you do? Were you blind to not seeing it happen? There's power and accountability in that. And when you have that feeling, like, you kind of become the creator of your own universe. You created your own universe, because then the world and the universe isn't being, you're not waiting for it to be created for you. You're kind of like making the decisions to make your life better or worse. And there's power in that. So that was a couple of things, but we're going to get off the self-help a little bit, but I do want to leave you with some things to think about, though. Like some wellness things. And the reason I'm also big on wellness, if you start looking at the life expectancy for men and you start looking around, a lot of us ain't making it to 80 like our parents did. Now, some of me really thinks these cell phones had something to do with it. My grandparents didn't have cell phones. They didn't have cell phones. So we have cell phones, Bluetooths, around all this. I feel like there's something with that. A lot of my generation and y'all after me, we aren't making it to 80, 90 years old. We are out of here at 60, which also, like, it doesn't scare me because I'm like prepared. I'm like, well, when it happened, it happened. Like, I've made peace with death many years. I made peace with death like in my 30s. My 20s and 30s, I made peace with that. But it's like, that's another thing. I'm like, I'm going to keep on buying. But life expectancy, shit, mother's getting ill at 60. If you see 67, you might be lucky. That's your health, accountability, decisions you make now. What you eat, what you drink, what you consume. Do you exercise? Oh, you don't? You've identified a problem. Have you not figured a solution? Do you want to work on it? Accountability. Support network. And I talk about mental health a little bit. I'm big on that because I also do therapy. I think it's good to be in your head. And mental health of men, have you noticed that y'all suicide rates in men are high? I worry about men. I'm not here to bang on y'all, but I worry about men in general. Because I still think a society functions really well when men are in good spaces. And I'm not talking work, just like in the workplace and we should run women out there. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the society of men, testosterone, works better when men are in good spaces, mentally, physically, financially, health, balance. You got this triangle balance. I think society is better because it can be safer when men are in balance. When we're out of balance, it becomes destructive. When we're out of whack. And I just think society's better. But suicide rates in men are up. Is it due to the pressures? Is it due to lack of love connections? Is it the antisocial behavior? Some of y'all don't know how to make friends because you do everything on the internet. And then when you log off the internet and the light cut off, you have nothing and nobody. Or if you needed something, like your house was, like I almost was about to answer the phone. One of my best friends was calling me while I was live. I was going to answer the phone, but I can't really hear on these speakers. So if I would have answered the phone, I don't know if I would have heard him because I'm kind of not hearing myself and it's annoying in this. So I'm going to try to figure this out for the next live. But like I would have answered the phone and you probably would have just heard me and him shoot the shit. Like I would have said, hey, bro, before you talk, just know you're recording. I'm on live. But like that's one of my aces. One of my aces. If my house burned down tomorrow, I can live with him. I know I can call him. Some people don't have that. Y'all have the internet. So when you log off or that person's log off, you're kind of lonely. My military vets, you know what PTSD is about. Have somebody to talk to. That's all I'm saying. I'm big on mental health, especially with my veterans. Y'all know what it is. We don't need to go into it, but y'all know what it is. You need to talk to somebody. You know, when you talk about a support network, we are the average of the 3 to 5 people we spend the most time with. Who do you spend the most time with? Is it the internet? Who do you spend the most time with outside the internet? Or is it the internet? Do you have good, positive, healthy relationships offline, touching grass? I'm not judging you. I'm just asking a question. Cultivate those relationships. But you are the average of 3 to 5 people we spend the most time with. The average. You know, I was going to do, you know, I ain't want to get too deep in mental health and shit like that, right? Because I'm not a therapist, but I've been taken the workshops and work on my mental, work on myself. You always got to do that because you got to be in a good place. How can you, it's like being on an airplane. How can you put the mask on? You got to say yourself first. Your family ain't operating if you ain't kicking on all cylinders. But suicide rates in men, I worry about men, especially young boys. Have you seen the rates? Google it. They're high. They're rising. Is it because the pressures of being told you ain't shit without money? And the society and the economy is going so high for some people? I'm financially good. I'm well off. I am fortunate. I know the rest of society in general can't do everything. And I'm not rich, but I'm in a really good financial place. I don't have debt. Credit score is, I can go in any bank right now and probably get a couple $100,000. If I want $100,000, I can probably get it in like 24 hours. Yeah, my credit union, well, it's the weekend now. But if I apply on my credit union right now, by Monday, I can probably have $100,000 in my bank from the credit union loan. Easy. I can do that because I have good credit and my debt to income ratio is well balanced. So I can make those moves if I really needed it. Everybody can't do that, or they don't have the family or the resources to do that. So sometimes when I hear people say, yeah, but it's hard, EQ, we don't have the finances and we ain't making that much money, then why the fuck do you have all these bottles for? Why aren't you building your credit up, building your portfolio up, doing things that actually matter instead of chasing the compliments that the internet is fake? The internet ain't fucking real. I don't know what some of y'all think sometimes when I say I get compliments, but it don't be from some fucking 10 all the time. Some 10, some drop dead gorgeous ass tits, fucking looking like she's straight out of Venezuela or Ghana or some shit, just flowing gorgeous or some world, whatever, and say, oh, you smell good. No, bro, it'd be the average fucking working woman. She may be overweight. She may not be. She may be in shape. She might have been in shape at the gym. Maybe she's working on herself. Maybe she's a mother or two. Maybe she's a divorce. Maybe she's a widow. This internet shit access it like, damn, I know EQ be getting the bitches. No, it don't even be like that, bro. And like I said, if you're a solid person, it ain't that many solid people or compatible people walking the face of the earth to make you think you got that many options. Just because you can hop in the internet and plan a date and go do, don't mean those are real options. Because I gotta want you the way you want me. And that might not be the case. The internet is fake. But again, sometimes you have to look at I would have did this exercise, but it's just way too hard, where you gotta like write down the names of 8 to 10 people in your life you spend the most time with. And then you gotta plot a chart, make a chart. You're gonna make a cross. Energizing and growth oriented, you're gonna put those people there. People you frequent, so it could be a duel. People who are depleting. So those people who call you and they always have drama, like always. And then people you infrequent, people you don't spend that much time with. And then once you do that, you figure out, all right, out of those names, who's your safety and security? Who are you learning and growing from? Who do you have a trust connection with? Identity and acknowledgement, fun and relation. Who do you have fun with? And then you create another list and it'll get way too deep, because then when you create the other list and you start putting the names, then you're going to say, well, how many of those names are on those names? Because that's going to tell you a lot about yourself. And if a lot of those names are depleting, you might have to start cutting some friends or family off. Personal growth. And that's where things get a little crazy. Let me see some of the comments. On God, I spoke, I would say with my therapist today, and I'm not ashamed. Yeah, Duck too. Bro, mental health is big, man. Wellness practices. You got to look at your mental wellness, your physical wellness, and your financial wellness. When those are in line and balanced, your mental, your physical, your financial, you're operating on all cylinders. One of those are off, it's going to throw your fire off. It'll throw it off. You can be in shape. You can be good mental, but your financial get out of whack. You owe too much debt because you've been buying shit on a credit card, and then you only got paid this much. But after you pay your credit card and then buy the new fragrance you just had in, now you look at your bank account and you only got $100, but you got to make that $200 work till the next 2 weeks because you got like zero on account and no substantial savings. That's scary, especially in today's job market where you might be fired tomorrow. If you was fired tomorrow, can you still live your lifestyle, buy every fragrance that you're doing every month and do everything? Can you do all that for 6 months without unemployment? Can you do it for 6 months? If not, maybe you should start thinking about saving, investing, talk to a financial advisor, figure out a way to set up. My young guys in their 20s, start putting the money away. Start thinking about like some RAs. You can look at some 403Bs. Something that you can, a mutual fund, something you can put into every month that will grow. And about time you hit 50, you can have about 700,000 or whatever in the bank. by putting so much money into a bank. You can start looking at a 403B because that's pre-tax. So they'll take the money out pre-tax and start thinking about that. You don't want to get 50 and 60 and figure out, God damn, I got to work till I'm 80 or I can't. If I get crippled or if I get injured on the job, I'm fucked. I don't know how I'm going to provide for myself. But I got bottles. That got to be some scary shit. That got to be scary as hell. If you go outside tomorrow, we all drive a car. Well, some of us. You fuck around getting an automobile accident and maybe you lose your legs and you can't work and you be like, bro, but I got 50 bottles, but you don't got no financial exit or whatever, bro. Life come at you fast, but you got $1,000 bottles. It's your life, bro. But that's part of your financial wellness, and go work out and read a book or do something, man. Just be mindful of what you consume. And again, man, I look at stuff on the internet. I look at the kids. I look at the youth. I look at the messages that I receive. They're very encouraging, but also say, like, as men, we got work to do. We got work to do. And stop listening to what women say on the internet, even if it's discouraging. They just talking shit. We see who they date. They ain't rich men. And everybody ain't making $100,000. Go lie to somebody else. I'm outside. I see. You don't got that. What are we talking about? You living check to check like that? What the fuck are we talking about? So, like, take that with a grain of salt. I'll read this thing from I want to say this therapist called David Richo, R-I-C-C-H-O. Our personal values identify us to ourselves and others. In a very real way, we are the values we cherish and demonstrate. What are your values? Is it fragrances? Is it family? What is your why? But I say all that to say the internet ain't real. The internet will lie to you. The internet will make you think everybody got it together and people ain't stressed. How many times you saw on the internet some creator who looked like they have $1 million, they riding in the big Lambos and shit like that, and then they go commit suicide. And you be like, bro, I didn't know what I don't. People have demons. People struggle. Don't want nobody else's life but yours. If YouTube wouldn't strike me, I would probably play and queue up on J. Cole's ain't no life that's better than yours. No such thing, no such thing. I almost want to play that and say fuck the monetization. But I think I put time and work in. I would like to monetize my time. But that's an important song. That's one of my favorite albums, Forest Hill Drive. And just listen to the words of that song. Matter of fact, let me see if I can pull up the lyrics because it's important, and then I'm gonna answer some questions, and then we're gonna go ahead and get up out of here. Let me see. Let me see if I can find it. But I'll read a couple of bars. Yeah, I think it's Love Yours. Hold on. Give me 1 second, y'all. Anytime you feel down or you're going through something, you know what I'm saying? Take some time, meditate, read, exercise, listen to this song. There's no such thing as a life that's better than yours. No such thing as life is better than yours. No such thing, no such thing. Stop looking at people on the internet and being like, yeah, I want that. No, you don't know what had to happen to get that. You don't know what had to happen to actually get that. But what I will say, and I said I was going to start, but I see this last note I want to do, and then we're going to go ahead and see where we are and crank up out of here. But whatever you want to achieve. Like for me, I said, you know, I want to be able to provide more content for you all. I want to be able to still give you fragrances, but still kind of do this because I just don't want to do top 10s every day. I'll get bored. Shout outs to people who can do it. I don't know. Plus, I kind of like the fact that I know people are on the other end listening, like I can see the chat. So I don't feel like I'm sitting in here talking to myself, just recording myself. That's weird at times. And then because I like to be a perfectionist, like when I was saying, like all those words I be messing up, I wouldn't mess up if I was doing a pre-recording because I would have looked it up. I would have made sure. I was like, did I say that right? Let me make sure I got the correct pronunciation. Like I'm kind of like perfectionist like that, or I try to be. So I would try to do my best to make sure my best with whatever dialect I have and try to say the best. But anyway, I said, you know, right now I'm shy of 17,000, about 300. I think I'm 16.7 right now. I said, all right, I would like to get 20,000 by December. I think that's like a macro goal, but I said I need to find a micro. So my therapist I talked to, we always talked about different things. And she said, you know, one thing we always talk about is what's your SMART goal? Your SMART goal. SMART is an acronym. It's specific. What is your specific goal? It must be very specific and grounded in something that's significant to you. That's your S part. What is it specific? Okay. For me, I'm gonna grow the channel and I'm gonna try to get like 30. I got to get 3,300 by December. If I can do it before then, cool. But that's just a SMART goal. So that's specific. Measurable. That's your M in SMART. The goal must have some sort of measurement. So it can be days, pounds, miles, etc. Measurement. Well, I can look at my numbers and see what the growth is doing. It has to be achievable. It must be realistic and reasonable. If you are 400 pounds saying you want to be 270, it's not really, unless you want to do gastric bypass or something crazy, like it's not really, do something small. If you say I want to lose 20 pounds by whenever, set a goal date, but then say, what do I have to do to get to that 20 pounds I want to lose? Okay, I got to diet. I got to exercise once a day. I'm trying to lose 1 pound a week, 1 to 2 pounds a week. So 1 to 2 pounds a week. At most, let's just say 2 pounds a week, unless you like bodybuilding like Ross and you kind of like they do that fast, they growing down. But 2 pounds a week, good healthy weight loss is 4 weeks in a month. So 2 times 4, that's 8. So you say I want to do 8 pounds a month, 10 pounds at the most, but 8 pounds a month. So you say, okay, then you start just adding the months. You say, okay, well, I can do that in 2.5 months. But this micro goal is I want to lose 1 pound a week. So you focus on that because you can't get the macro without the micro. It has to be relevant. It has to relate to what you're hoping to accomplish. Okay, I want to grow my channel. I want to get 20,000 by December. Has to be relevant. Will I get it? We'll see. I think if I keep doing content, keep adding stuff, be more consistent, we'll see what happens with that. It might be able to be achievable. If not, that's cool. I just go back to the drawing board. You can never be discouraged. Then it has to be time bound. That's the problem. Too many people have goals. That's why people never lose weight for their New Year's Eve resolution, because they don't really have a time bound. They just say, I want to lose it at the end of the year, 365. I want to lose this weight. But they don't really have the step. They're not taking the steps to say, okay, I want to do this. I got to do this to get that. So it got to be time bound. You got to have a time sensitive. Me, by December. So I just got to see what I got to do per month to get to my 3,300 by December. I think that's somewhat reasonable. Again, I may achieve it. I may not. People may not like this content. Or maybe I get a new group of following who like this content, don't give a shit about top 10s. But either way, for you all, set your SMART goals up. Don't look to the internet for your influence per se. Look at it for what it is, entertainment, because you don't know what those people are going through, what they got going on. They can have health scares. They can be alcoholics. Some can't keep a marriage together. They don't been left over fragrances. You don't really know. Everybody got their demons. You only know yours and control yours, but the internet is fake. It is not real. So these compliments, you think they coming from beautiful women? They might be coming from Big Bertha, respectfully. So what? Big Bertha say you smell good. Don't mean you gotta want to fuck everything that compliments you. Yeah. So that's kind of my take on where we're at. I will at this point answer, you know what I mean, see if y'all got another topic we want to talk to. I'll give it a few minutes or whatever the case is to see if anybody want to build on anything I said, or we can take it somewhere else. Again, I didn't want to serious this out too much. It kind of got serious. And I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a trained psychologist. I am not a financial advisor. Take everything I said today as a form of entertainment. But if there's something I said or a book, then do your own follow-up and see if that's what it is. But young men, I worry for you all. I worry for your safety, mentally, physically. And I'm saying young men across the board, not just black, white, Asian. I worry about men in general. Because I have to live in this world with you motherfuckers. Pause. And respectfully on the MFers. But I have to live in this world with you. So if you don't got your shit together, you may wild out. We may have a confrontation, and I may have to make your family meal prep for the weekend. I don't want to do that. I don't want your family in the kitchen frying chicken and mac and cheese and greens for the repast. I need you to be okay. I'm going to be okay. I need you to be okay. I need to be able to go into a movie theater and not worry about a school shooting or an active shooter. I need men to be okay. When we are in line, then society is safer in general. Again, I didn't want to serious this topic out. It kind of just went there because it kind of started off on like me just looking at content and being like, nah, bro, you can lie to somebody else. Like, nah, I'm cool on that. To like me going into mental health books, self-help books and stuff of that nature. But, you know, whatever. The content is the content. Some people might like it. Some people might sub to it. Some people might say, bro, I ain't here for that. Tell me about the new panty droppers. All right, you can wait till Wednesday or Thursday because I still got that content. Don't think I'm leaving that content. I still got that. And there will be fragrances I'll still pick up. I have some things I'm looking forward to this year. I think I would like to add. I think we'd be okay talking about that. I appreciate the content. Honesty is great. Well, I appreciate you tuning in and supporting the content. Let me end it with some fragrances, if that's okay, and then we'll get up out of here. Some things I'm looking forward to adding possibly to the wardrobe. I saw Laverde is on its way, probably by next week. So part of me, it would, if you're in my group, somebody put out a good deal. I copped that with the quick. It was still of a deal. Yeah, I had to go. I had to grab that. And that's something I've been wanting to add anyway. I like Isola Blue, Isola Soul. I don't really want to complete the collection. Isola Soul is something I'm going to have to sample. And I'll probably have an opportunity to get a 10 ml of Isola Soul because there are two fragrances I've been meaning to add for a minute. And that's from Raja. That's turned out in Lock Me and Turned Out. I want to add those two to the wardrobe. I've been on my Roja like elite shit for a minute, and I kind of want to add those. And when you get some from Raja, you can pick a 10. Those you're not going to get those discounted. If somebody knows where I can get that discounted, sure, put me on. But those, generally speaking, you got to get that from Hawk Perfumery. Like you got to get that. You can't get that from. That's not your regular Rajas. You got to get that from overseas, and then taxes and tariffs on that is like $200, $125. That's retail I'm paying. So what I say? Oh yeah, so all these are Rajas. Now think about it. I sold a Ver to be in. Before the end of this year, I would like to add Terre and Lakami. And the other reason is because technically I think he's supposed to add a third to that collection. And that's the Russian opera. It's supposed to be a third to close it out. I don't know when that's coming out, but there's supposed to be a third inevitably. So it could be this year or next year. So I'll probably get that when that inevitably comes out. But locking me and turned out. Champagne, BG at Champagne, or Champagne at BG, basically is the Bergdorf Goodman's Raja exclusive. He has one every year. It was Tea by Bergdorf last year. This year, I believe it's going to be Champagne. I will have a bottle of that. So that's 4 Rajas before the end of the year. I'm trying to think what else. I don't think nothing else really excites me. I need to smell the new. I've been meaning to get with my guy who's locally to smell that limited edition Raja. I mean, limited edition Boadicea, but I have very low hopes for that. But I will give it a chance by smelling it. Will I cop a bottle? It's going to have to blow me away because somebody said it's kind of rose base, but I have crazy mad rose fragrances. I just don't. It gotta be exceptional. Just like with the new Bleu De Chanel, it's good. I just don't think it's exceptional for me to pay $300 and keep it in my collection so it can set on the shelf. Because I'm not going to reach for it. I'll be reaching for my Rajas in day 3 and in Cartier. Oud Santal, I'll be reaching for those. I'm not reaching for that. So I paid $300 to set on the shelf, like some museum piece. Yeah, I can do better things with my money, personally. So I think that's all I'm looking forward to. I'm trying to think what else, and that's transparent. I be gatekeeping y'all sometimes because some of y'all don't be worthy, bro. Y'all be doing me wrong, but no, I think I look forward to those. I don't know what new releases, but I'm not always looking to new releases because new releases ain't really better than old stuff that I haven't gotten yet. So that's just kind of where I'm at. Somebody said longevity is bad. Hold on, which one? Y'all think you talking about that Boadicea then? I got a feeling that's what you're talking about. You second that, Ryan. What did Ryan say? Because I can't see the comment. Everything can't be like, we just got to get more serious. Appreciate game. Yeah, I mean, Noble. I figured you was talking about Noble. Yeah, I keep hearing different things with Noble, and for $575, $600, I can do something better with that money. I always ask when people be like, I'm gonna spend this much on a fragrance. Sometimes I be wanting to ask, but I'm not your financial advisor. But since we here, I be wanting to ask, like, okay, what's your credit score? Because if your credit score is low, especially if you're in the 600s, that means you have outstanding debt. That's what that means. Your debt to income ratio is like completely off. So then why haven't you paid down that 600? You could have put that towards a credit card that probably has a high interest. So if you buy a fragrance for $500, you don't pay it off. You got 21% interest on that. You really paying like $600-800 on that fragrance, especially if you're paying a bare minimum. That $500 fragrance, if you don't pay it off over a period of time, you end up paying $1,000 for that. That's why I don't like fragrances on credit. I pay cash. If I can't pay cash and pay it full out or some sort of interest-free kind of thing, I know I'm cool. Because then you like, oh, I'm getting it at a discounter, but you're using credit card and you're not paying the credit card off. You could have got it for retail because you didn't save money because you still paid the retail price. Paying minimum payment guy. But you got 1,000 fragrances and clones or whatever. But again, I'm not your financial advisor. Do what you want to do. But I think about stuff like that because we are one car accident away from not working. And then what you going to do? Knock on wood, everybody. Then what you going to do? You got a plan? That's what's important. Not panty droppers and how many compliments. And everybody, oh, it's going to be the new complimented thing. Yeah, they're just going to tell me I smell good, just like the other people told me I smell good wearing the other 20 fragrances I got. It's the same people saying the same damn thing. What difference do it make? If that's what you're chasing, what difference do it make? They're saying the same thing. I'm not getting more out of it, am I? Maybe you are. But I don't know. I like money way more than I like fragrances. I like money. I like security. And then it helps me keep my financial triangle in line. But anyway, not to bore y'all because we're coming up on 2 hours. We got 120 people. It's kind of coming down. How can I get in contact with you, man? I want to send you my fragrance, 100% independent Puerto Rico fragrance, fruity mango musk. My IG, we can talk about it. We can talk about it. You can send it. I don't know if you we'll talk about that. Let's not do that on this live. But I'm always let people know you can always send stuff, but I'm gonna say what I'm, just be confident, but also be secure that everybody ain't gonna like everything. So, and I don't just be mindful. Other than that, my IG, inbox me in my IG. And we can kind of make that happen. We can make, we can talk about it. Don't mean it's going to happen, but we can have a conversation there. Other than that, people, I hope that you all enjoyed the show. Do anybody got any questions for me? Anything we want to talk about? Fragrances, anything else on y'all mind y'all want to get to? Other than that, I'll give y'all a couple seconds if anybody want to add it, but I see the comments going down or the people watching going down. So we're gonna
the cipher.
Y'all put fire in the chat. Leave me out, please, before you leave out the club. Last call. Please hit the like button on your way out. And I'm gonna leave you. Let me see. Best rooftop bar in DC. I mean, is there really a best? But DC, man, listen, DC going out is kind of semi-played now because it's just too expensive. You're gonna pay $50 for one drink that's not gonna be, Alexandria, Virginia, and Virginia got the best drink kind of thing set up, if I'm gonna be totally honest with you. But yeah, I'll be posting stuff like that in my stories all the time. But anyway, peace.